Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Life podcast. We are so excited to have you with us for another amazing week. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside this beautiful and amazing woman that I get to call my co-host and my amazing wife and mother of my beautiful children.
Hey, lovely people. Welcome to the Speak Life podcast. This is your co-host, the one and only Sheikah.
Only one,
We're
baby.
glad you're here with us today. All right, let's get it.
So we are going to jump into it without further ado. If you are first time listener to the podcast, we thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment to be a part of these conversations. This is how we interact with y'all because we can't hear what y'all, are thinking when we drop these. So make sure you, send those comments, like and subscribe so you can. And make sure you turn those notifications on. Make sure you got your notifications on so whenever we drop an episode,
you know
it dropped. Don't just wait for us to post it on the websites. Keep those notifications on. And if you're part of our faithful listeners who tune in week after week, I'm gonna keep saying this until I don't have a platform to say it. We appreciate y'all. I'm serious. We appreciate
you
y'all
guys
very much so because you guys give us, the feedback and stuff that we need. Y'all tune in, y'all listen, y'all are getting something from what we're doing, and really that's what it's all about. So I'm grateful for y'all, and I can't stress it enough. I'm truly grateful for everyone who tunes into the podcast and hears what we're saying and comments and gives us that awesome feedback that we get. So shout out to all of y'all. All right, without further ado, we jumping into an interesting episode this week, and it may seem a little weird at first. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little different than what we normally talk about, but we really want to talk about being thankful for your valleys.
Your valleys, yes.
Now, we don't often find gratefulness in valley experiences. So just to set the tone of what we want to talk about and to give us a foundation to really think about, let's talk about what a valley is. Some people may not know the vernacular that we are speaking with because they may not be associated with any form of Christendom or, any Christianity influence, may never have stepped into a church before anymore. And a lot of times we use some churchy terms that a lot of people have no idea what we're talking about. So let's set the stage. What is a valley?
So there's different valleys.
And we ain't talking about landforms now. We're not talking about landforms, but we're talking about the valley experience.
Your valley could be anything. Yes. Your valley could be anything. Your valley could be as simple as, my boss is giving me trouble on the job.
That can be a legit valley. Let's be real. That can be a valley experience.
Your valley could be that, you're trying to have a baby and you're having difficulty with that. Your valley could be like, you were abused as a child.
Ooh.
Your valley could be that you're in an abusive relationship right now.
Yikes.
Pretty much any kind of difficulties that you're going through, that could be a valley.
I like that one. That is a pretty good working definition. Yours was a lot more thorough than what I would have said. I'm not even gonna lie. I was just thinking on the lines of a valley experience is any negative experience that you could possibly be having, but you went into it.
Yeah, because I'm like, you know what? If anyone is like me, I'm very analytical, so like I like things to be explained to me.
Yes, you need the specifics.
Yeah,
she's not for the general vague statements. She needs specificity. Yeah, that would be on the bloopers reel. Specificity. Yeah. I'm not even sure if that's how it's pronounced, but y'all know what I'm talking about. She needs you to be specific and clear as possible. So yes, valley experiences or valleys are those situations that we come in contact with, and we all got them. We all have them. We've been there. Where some of us are there right now.
My valley may look different from your valley.
Some of us just came out of one. Some of us are about to go into one. Yeah. So we know what the valley experience is. That difficult situation that just kind of doesn't look like it's gonna get any
better.
It's
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, you can't see the way out. You're wondering if it's ever gonna end.
Is it gonna get better?
My friend, are in the valley. Yeah. So with that, we said we want to talk about being thankful for your valleys. Why in God's name would someone
want to be thankful?
Yeah, because this is we need real life answers, because I'm thinking about some of the most horrific times that I had, and I'm like, why would I want to be thankful for that? Why would I want to be grateful for that? And there's probably people who are listening like, yo, they have lost it this time around. They talk about being thankful for this mess that I'm in right now. I'm talking about things don't look like they ever gonna get better. And I'm supposed to be thankful for this? You mean all this pain that I'm going through, this depression that I'm sitting in? I'm supposed to be thankful and grateful for this? Why would anyone in their right God-given mind want to be thankful for a valley?
I mean, from my experience, when I'm going through a valley situation, at that time, I'm not thankful. In that moment, I'm not like, oh God, thank you for this. Like, no, Lord, help me.
Help me
Lord, through this.
Do you see me in
like
this?
I cannot go through this. Like, I need your help. But honestly, though, like, from my experience, after I get out of the valley moments or valley situation, that's when I could say thank you, God. And so from experience, I've learned that the valley experience is not going to be for a long time. It's not going to be always. There's going to be some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, even though it doesn't look like it. But my breakthrough is going to come eventually. But when you're in the moment of going through these valley experience, it feels like it's eternity. It feels like it's not going to end.
That is true.
So I've learned that after that experience, that valley experience, I've learned to say, thank you, God. And the reason why, I don't know what your next question is, so I don't know if I want to go into it. But the reason why...
Yeah, hold off on the reason why.
Okay. So I've learned... So within the time frame of me going through these experiences, I'm just like, God, why me? Why do I have to go through this?
Yes.
I'm not thankful at all.
No.
I'm questioning God.
Why? I think that is a very important point to make. Now, when we talk about being thankful for the valley experience, when you're going through it, you're not going to be thankful. You're not going to be like, God, I thank you for this moment of depression that you have me in right now, because I know that you're doing something. You're not going to be like, God, I thank you for the fact that it feels like, I don't know, if this job is going to get any better, if this boss is going to get off my back, if my relationship's going to get better, if my life is going to get better, if my kids are going to get better, if the situation I'm going through is going to get... No one's thinking that when they're going through it, but when you come out of it, and I like that point that you made, it's oftentimes when you come out of it that we start to see the necessity.
The importance.
I'm using a lot of nice words today. The necessity of that experience, and that really kind of leads me to my next question. And I want to be really intentional with the questions that we really pull out today, because I think that there's a certain power that comes from the things that we pull out in these conversations. And this next question really builds off of, that thankfulness. Is there a purpose? And I think that is what I didn't want you to touch on when you was talking about it, because I felt it coming. And he was like, I don't know what the next question is. And I was like,
I didn't even look at the question.
If you don't know what the question is, then just stop. If you feel like you need to stop talking. Stop talking. But this next question is important. Like, is there a purpose for going through these different valley experiences? And I think this is the big piece right here.
So, honestly, like I said before, from experience, I've learned that there is a purpose for the valley experience. So like, you know, if you haven't read the book, you know, you got to get it to, you know, and read it. But
there's a lot of gems in that book, by the way. And
for
I'm not just saying this to say it, but there are a lot of, especially revolving around this topic.
So the fact that I've been through so much as a child, now that I'm an adult, I can say, Lord, thank you for allowing me to go through these things, because now I'm working with children. I'm working with students, and the things that they're going through, and even with me now going into counseling, you know, going to school to be a counselor, the things that these children are dealing with or going through, I've gone through these things. And now I'm able to like speak to them from experience. Meaning I've been through those valleys that they're going through right now. So now that I've already been through it, I'm able to talk to them and share from experience what they're going through. And it's only from experience I'm able to like get through to them, to say, okay, you know what? I've been there, and look at me now. I've walked the same road that you're walking now. But look at me. I didn't turn out too bad. And then I'll share with them my faith. Like, okay, it's only God, because I couldn't do it by myself. So, through experience, I'm able to like say, thank you, God. Because the fact that if I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't be able to share anything with these students. I wouldn't be able to share not just with students, but with people. Because there's people who are still going through things. And because of my experience, I'm able to talk to them and let them know, you're not in this alone. Like, I've gone through it. And if I'm able to like if God is able to help me to find a way out, I know he can do it to you too. He can help you too. So now I could look and I could say, God, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the valley, you know, because those valley experience really is paying off right now. And I look back and I look at it and I'm like, you know, God, if I didn't go through this, I wouldn't know what to say to these children. I wouldn't know what to say to these people. I would not know. Because I cannot sincerely say something and explain something to somebody for them to understand if I did not go through it.
That's true. That is true. And just looking at like valley experiences from my life, I always feel like there's a few different purposes that valley experiences have. There's a few different ones. One of the like major ones for every one of my valley experiences, God will use a valley experience to cause you to trust him more.
Yes, he sure will.
If you never trusted God, a valley experience will force you
to trust.
To bring your trust in God to the next level. If the only thing you trusted God for was saying grace and prayers at night, a valley experience will trust you will get you to trust God to provide for you, to keep you, especially in moments where you don't know how they're gonna turn out. It will really cause you to trust God in a way that you are not used to.
Mm-hmm. And also, I want to add, valley experiences will help you or keep you humble.
If you're not humble, valley experiences will give you a slice of humble pie, where if you thought you was all that, you will learn real quick in the valley that I need to think of myself not higher than what I need to be.
And it will allow you to not be judgmental.
Oh, yes.
Because
it will teach you some serious lessons.
Life lessons.
Another thing that I've realized that the valley has taught me, it in a lot of the experiences that I had, it has shown me how God is consistent no matter what I'm going through.
Yep.
I have definitely learned the consistency of God through my valley experiences, where it's like, yeah, God, I'm a hot mess right now. And God's like, but I'm still exactly what you knew me as. The same me that was with you on that mountaintop, that same me that you knew up there is the same me down here. See, because God has shown me that he does not change even though our environment changes. Yeah. Even though things around us may change, even though our attitudes may change, even though, when we're on the mountaintop, we're like, yes, everything's good. Jesus, I love you. And then we're in the valley. Sometimes we be like, God, but God, but like we sometimes somehow think that somehow God has changed because our position has changed or our location has changed or our circumstances has changed. God has shown me that the same God, and I know there's a songwriter who says the same God of the mountain is the same God in the valley. He doesn't change just because our situation has changed. And then one of the major things that you touched upon about the valley experience is that God will take you into a valley experience to prepare you to help someone else later on. Yeah. And I think that piece is the piece that we sometimes overlook. And we think that when we're going through that, it's just for ourselves.
It's not.
And there's so many times where God's like, listen, I'm going to take you down into this valley to show you something. And it's not really to show you something to help you, although it does help you.
But it's also to help
by
somebody
getting there. But God is preparing us. And through those valley experiences, God prepares us for where he's trying to take us. And I say this a lot, and I'm going to keep saying this because I honestly believe it. There are certain lessons that you will learn in the valley experiences of your life that you will never, ever learn while you're on the mountaintop.
It's true.
There are certain things that God is able to bring you to and bring you through that you just can't learn unless you are in like a stage of like crisis or a stage where it seems like everything's going wrong. There are certain things that God can't show you when things are going good, that he has to make some turmoil happen in your life in order to get you to just understand certain things. There's certain things that he just can't get you to understand when things are going right. That when things are going horribly wrong, he's like, now look at this. And you're like, I never would have even thought. But it never feels like it I can't stress it enough. It never feels like it when you're going
through it. Not at all.
Through it. So the valley has its purpose.
It does.
It may not seem like it.
But it does.
No matter where you are right now, whether you just came out the valley or you going in or you in it right now, that experience has a purpose. It's not just happening just because it has a purpose. All right, so this is big because the way we perceive things really does shape our reality.
It does.
The way that we look at things that are happening to us can either, make us or break us. I remember this saying that my boss said to me when I was working security. He's like, Christian, shout out to Christian, wherever he is. I haven't talked to him in a long while. But he's like, Kenny, they say 10% of life are things that happen to us. Only 10%. 90% of life is how we deal with it. So that just perception, and in my mind, that's what perception is. How we perceive things determines how we take things. Now, with that, what are some ways that we can change our perspective on our valley experiences? What are some ways that we can shift the way we look at those so they don't overtake us as much?
So, again, I can only speak from like experience that I've had. But like I remember when, I was praying about some things and I just didn't know like how it was going to pan out. And I'm like, God, I just know, I felt it in my spirit. This is what I need to do to get closer to God. And I'm like, I want to get closer, but I didn't know, like, I'm like, okay, God, I'm reading, I'm praying, but it just doesn't feel like I'm getting to where I need to get to in you. And then God shakes some things up where, I start, like, it's like all hell broke loose, and it's like,
and God will shake some things up, boy.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was about to lose my mind. And through that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to change some things. I'm going to have to show God, like, I'm sacrificing because I really need you to show up for me. And that was around the time when I was decided that I'm going to get up at 3 a.m. and pray. And I'm like, God, I don't know how else to show you or to tell you I need your help. So I like to sleep. If anyone know me, I love my...
You do.
Eyelids. I love to sleep.
She likes to check out what's behind those eyelids.
I love to sleep. So therefore, like 3 a.m. get up.
That's a sacrifice.
To pray. I'm like, God, this is how bad I want it. This is how bad I need your help. So I decided that this is how I'm going to show God that I really need him, because he knows and I know that 3 a.m., that's some ungodly time for me to get up to pray.
That is an ungodly time to just be up.
You know?
I don't know how people who work overnight do it, man.
So I was like, okay, Lord, if I do this and I'm doing it consistently, you gotta know, like, that I really do need you.
Just showing them that you were serious.
So yeah, and I started doing it. And I was doing it by myself, and I was just praying and praying and praying. And then I realized that after getting up at 3 a.m., I'm like, my day just goes well. And not only that, but it's like I started feeling different in my spirit. I started feeling like a different person. And I start feeling good. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like this is what I needed to do. Long story short, like couple months doing that, I started seeing how God just started working some things out for me. And even though some of the situation that I was praying for was still seemed like they wasn't changing, spiritually, I was getting to where I needed to be. God started showing me things in my dreams. Like, he just started showing me things. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So it's like that alone helped me to get to where I needed to be in God spiritually. But the experience that caused me to start praying, when God just shook things up for me, eventually I saw like everything just kind of come back together. And it's like, but then I'm like, God, thank you. Because if it wasn't for that time that I was going through, I would not sacrifice getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to pray, because I really needed him to come through for me. And after he came through for me, it's like, I'm just like, Lord, thank you. Because I feel like I became a different person. One that I was like, before I was just like, oh God, I don't really know. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just confused. Like, I just don't know. And it's like, it brought about clarity. Everything just seemed right. Like, okay, I'm doing something right. This is where I needed to be. And if it wasn't for that valley experience, I wouldn't get there, because I would have never got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to pray and to sacrifice that time to show God, like, I just need you to come through for me.
I think for me, what helped me to, well,
did I even answer the question?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
You did.
I feel like I was like all over.
One of the things that helped me to change the way that I look at valley experiences is really looking at the purpose of them. And when I'm going through certain things, I kind of see it as like, what is God trying to tell me in this moment? What is God trying to show me in this moment? Is it I need to get closer? Is it he's trying to teach me something? Or is he trying to prepare me for something? Because usually for me, it's usually those three things. It's either he's like, boy, you need to you seeming a little distant. Let me shake up your life a little bit to get you to draw closer. It's like, and that right there is like one of the things that God just does. For me, that's just what it is. He's like, you seem a little far. Let me pull you in a little closer. Is he trying to pull me closer? Is he trying to teach me something? And with that, I'm like, is he trying to teach me to trust in him when it doesn't look like things are going right? Is he trying to boost my faith to know that even though things aren't going how you think they should be or how they seem, you need to believe that I am who I say I am and I'll do what I say I'm going to do. Is he causing me to really pull from what I know him to be and raise my faith to that next level? It's like, what is it that he's trying to teach me in that moment? So it's either he's trying to pull me closer, he's trying to teach me something. And in those moments, I'm like, God, what are you? These are my questioning guys. Like, God, what are you doing? What is it that are you trying to tell me something? Do you need me to do something? Or is he trying to prepare me for something, for something to come? And when I look at it in those three things, Valley experience, one, they don't surprise me anymore. They don't, because they're going to come. One way or another, they're going to come because God is always either teaching us something, showing us something, preparing us for something, or drawing us closer.
But we know it's not going to last forever.
He's always doing that. So when I realize that my Valley experience has a purpose, then it no longer has that power to shake me as much. Don't get me wrong. It's still, when God wants to shake you, God still shake you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how confident you are in your faith. It doesn't matter where you are. When God wants to shake you up, he'll shake you up. But when you recognize what the purpose of your Valley experience is, it doesn't frazzle you as much. It'll still frazzle you, but it won't have that impact of just you being caught blindsided. And it's just like, oh, I'm going through this valley again. But it's like, all right, I'm going through this valley, but what am I supposed to get from it? So you go in looking for certain indicators and certain things, and you're trying to find purpose of what it is. At least for me, that's how my perspective changed from looking at Valley experiences to just being something that's horrible and miserable that I don't want to go through, to trying to see what's the purpose of me going through this in this season. And the fact that, as you said, it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
It may feel like it, but
it feels like it, but it's not.
It's not going to last forever. And that's the Bible. It's like, his anger may last for a moment, but it won't be forever.
Yeah. Joy comes in the morning.
Weeping endure for a night,
Yeah.
but joy really does come in the morning. So the things that we go through, it doesn't last always. So, all right, wrapping it up. So, giving our viewers some advice, some encouraging words, something about going through the Valley experiences that they can carry with them, going forth. Maybe it's just how they can look at it different. Maybe it's something, to encourage them while they're going through. Because like I said, there's only three places you are. You either A, came out of valley, B, going into a valley, or C, you're already just sitting in the valley waiting to come out. Those are the three places we usually are when it comes to this life that we live. So
yeah, I believe that, I don't want people to, when you're going through a valley experience, don't think it's the end of the world. Don't lose hope. Hold on to some kind of hope, some kind of faith to say, like, what, it look like this right now, but I know it's gonna get better. It may take a while, but it's gonna get better. And while you're going through it, I like what you said, you're gonna learn something from it. There's a purpose as to why you're going through it. The purpose could be like, what, there's going to be someone else who's going to go through it, a situation like what you are going through, what you've been through, that you're going to have to help them through.
That is so true.
There could be a situation where, you know what, God is trying to take you to another level, and you have to go through that in order for him to take you where he's trying to take you. Because if you don't go through that, how are you going to be able to function? How are you going to be successful when he takes you to that higher level? You got to go through it.
Got to go through it. And that is a
you
big
know?
thing.
And you just have to believe that while you're going through it, you're not alone. And that God is going to take care of you. Like he's taking you through it. He's going to help you all the way through it. You're not alone. It may not feel like it. It may feel like, okay, you know what? I'm here by myself. God has forgotten about me. But when it feels like that, you're closer to getting out than you even can imagine.
Like the footprints in the sand. There it is. It's like
the
footprints
he's carrying
in the sand.
you.
It's like the footprints in the sand.
So don't lose hope. Stay encouraged, and just know that, like you said, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come. Comes. You know, you may be crying every night. You may can't even understand, like, God, what are you doing? God, look, and this is my go-to line, right? When things are going I'm in my valley and I'm just like, I can't see the way out. I'm like, God, I start reminding God, like, God, I've been serving you for X amount of years. Lord, look what I've been doing. And, you know, I'm talking, like, right now it sounds like I'm talking to the Christian. But if you're not a Christian, honestly, you could talk about, like, God, look at all the good that I've done. Look at all the people that I've helped. Look at, God, I will give my last to the poor. Like, God, look at how I act towards people. I'm always doing for them. Like, when is someone going to do for me? So even though, you know, you may not be serving God or a believer or whatever, but you could say, you know what, God, yes, I know I'm a sinner, but I have a good heart. I've done good deeds. And now show me. Let me experience you, Lord, for myself. And through those times when you're going through something like that valley experience and God come through for you, and even if you don't want to believe, he will come through for you, that you know it was not because of you
of a doubt
why you get out. Or it wasn't because of your parents, nobody, your parents, nobody. It you have to acknowledge and say, God, it's only because of you. And then right there and then, there's a purpose. Why? Now you experience God for yourself. And it's not because someone told you, but you experience him.
That's a big one. I would just end with this thought right here. And this is what I truly believe. It is this and this alone. God does not waste a valley experience. God is not going to waste a valley experience. So if you find yourself in that valley, if you find yourself at a moment where it feels like you're at your lowest, God is trying to do one of three things. He's either trying to show you something, teach you something, or draw you closer to him. For me, it's always been one of those threes. He's trying to show you something, teach you something, or draw you closer. And when you realize that your valley has a purpose, then it's no longer just something to leave you helpless, but it's God trying to get your attention to do something in your life. So just look at it as an opportunity. Look at those valley experiences as an opportunity for God to either teach you something, show you something, or pull you in a little bit closer.
Like that.
Yes. So.
All right.
I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You know, if you haven't gotten your copy of When Three Roads Collide, you can get that on anywhere that sells books online. Just type it in. It'll pop up.
You get it from us.
You can always
go
get it
onto
from
the
us.
website, threeroadscollide.com.
Just put it in. Put in your order. We'll get it to you. We will definitely get it to you. Remember, the podcast is on all digital, platforms, listening platforms, the Spotify's, the Google Podcasts, the iTunes. We out there. So
it's funny because this week I was listening to the podcast on Spotify.
I do it sometimes. Sometimes I'll be driving. I just let it run. I'll be like,
and sometimes I go on YouTube. I'm like, okay, let me go on YouTube and listen.
I'll just let it run.
Let me
sometimes.
go on Spotify. Let me go.
I'll be wanting to hear what people be hearing, because sometimes when you're doing it, you don't really get to hear, what we.
I always go back and listen to it.
I like to see how weird I sound when I'm doing this, but. We love y'all. Remember, death and life is in the power of your tongue.
So make sure you speak life.
We love y'all.
We love you guys. Have a great
week. We will
week.
see you
it's
soon.
It's going to be a great week.
God bless you.
God bless y'all.